So hello and welcome back all students to another video tutorial from Genome Biotech. And so in today's topic, we will be talking about what is nitrogen fixation and how does nitrogen fixation takes place. So basically what is nitrogen fixation? Defining this process of nitrogen fixation is the process by which the atmospheric nitrogen is converted into nitrite or nitrate compounds that can be effectively absorbed by the plant. This entire process is referred to as the nitrogen fixation. Certain prokaryotic organisms have the ability to convert nitrogen gas into ammonia. Firstly, nitrogen fixation. There is no eukaryotic organism that can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Only prokaryotic organisms have the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. So that's very important. Nitrogen fixation can only take place via the prokaryotes only. It can never take place for eukaryotes. Okay. So another note, nitrogen fixation can only be carried out by prokaryotic organisms and never a eukaryotic one. Never a eukaryotic, never a eukaryotic one. Okay, so only prokaryotic organism can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. The eukaryotic organism can never fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, so this is of utmost importance. Look here, just a second. Let me put it at the right place. Okay, so this is how nitrogen fixation is being carried out. Now, moving forward, so how does prokaryotic organisms fix nitrogen, and which are the different strategies which are being occupied by the prokaryotic organisms in order to fix nitrogen? So actually, how the prokaryotic organisms fix nitrogen, that we have to see. When you are talking about all eukaryotic organisms are unable, see this is written, all eukaryotic organisms are unable to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. There is no eukaryotic organism that has the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, so other organisms can fix the atmospheric nitrogen, those who are prokaryotic in nature. Now moving forward, please look here. See, so, nitrogen fixing prokaryotes have been termed as diazotroph. Those prokaryotes which have the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen are referred to as the diazotrophs. Okay, these diazotrophs have the ability to convert the atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. They have the ability to transform the nitrogen into the ammonium ions. Okay, so they will be the one that will be transforming it out into the ammonium ions. So this is how the nitrogen fixation can take place. And once the nitrogen fixation can take place, then it would be converted into ammonia. It would be converting the nitrogen into ammonia. 6 electrons and 6 protons are being required in this particular process. Then how does this process takes place? Actually, you know that in the case of nitrogen, there are triple bonds which are involved. And as there are triple bonds which are involved, these triple bonds are very hard to break. Okay, so as these triple bonds are very hard to break, so sorry, so as these triple bonds are very hard to break, so what has to be done? So we will have to remove these bonds one after the other. That means you cannot break all the 3 bonds together with each other, so you have to break the 3 bonds in a sequential manner, one after the other. First, what do you do is that you add 2 electrons. We are going to add 2 electrons, and then we are going to add 2 protons. The addition of 2 electrons and the addition of 2 protons causes the bonds to be broken down. So here, the hydrogen will be added and one bond will be broken down. Simultaneously, another bond is broken down, and ultimately, in the third step of the reaction, the third bonds are being broken down. Okay, the last bond is being broken down, and ultimately, this ammonium ions gets converted into ammonia. Okay, the biological process of nitrogen fixation takes place in a complex, and that complex is called as the nitrogenase complex. Okay, so the complex is called as nitrogenase complex. This is the complex that is involved in biological nitrogen fixation. It is the one that is involved in the case of biological nitrogen fixation. Now, there are three different forms of nitrogenase that differs in their requirement for three different compounds: molybdenum, vanadium, or iron as a critical metallic component of the cofactor. Now, nitrogenase enzyme, as you know, this is a metalloenzyme. This is a metalloenzyme in nature. Metalloenzyme means metalloenzyme means that it requires a metal ion for its activity. This compound requires a metal ion for its activity, as it essentially requires a metal ion for its activity. So that is why this nitrogenase complex will either require molybdenum or will require vanadium or will require iron as a critical metallic component of the cofactor associated with the catalytic site. Okay, most of the nitrogenase have been studied extensively using molybdenum as a cofactor. So questions are being asked in different entrance examination that majority of the nitrogenase complex contain which metal ion associated with itself. The answer to the question is molybdenum is the cofactor which is associated with the nitrogenase complex. So this nitrogenase complex is usually associated with the molybdenum molecule. Okay. Hopefully everything is clear to you. You are able to visualize. You are able to visualize the sheet as well as hear from me. Now, nitrogenase complex is actually a dimeric complex. That means it consists of two different subunits: dinitrogenase reductase and which this dinitrogenase reductase which will provide the electrons, as well as n-dinitrogenase which uses these electrons that will be used to reduce the ammonium, that will be used to reduce the nitrogen into ammonium. Okay, and in this process ATP is being hydrolyzed because ATP is being utilized in the entire process for the interconversion of nitrogen into ammonia. Now, how does this nitrogen fixation takes place, that we will have to understand that in which manner the nitrogen fixation occurs in the case of different types of prokaryotic organisms. So that we have to see that how does the action takes place. Just a second. So we would be looking at the animation of the dinitrogenase enzyme, that how does dinitrogenase enzyme work. So enzyme animation. So we would be looking at this dinitrogenase enzyme animation, that how does this dinitrogenase enzyme effectively work and carries out the biosynthesis of ammonium by the degradation of the nitrogen. Okay, so that we have to see. Just give me a second, sharing the animation with you all. So I will be sharing this particular animation with you so that you can understand that how does nitrogen fixation actually occurs in the case of the living organism. Not able to open it out. Just a second. Okay, finally we have done that. Another animation with you. Just for a second. Just wait for a second. There is a technical issue. Okay, now I can share that up. Okay, here you can look that how does nitrogen fixation takes place. So you can look at the nitrogen atom that is present in front of your screen. This nitrogen atom, which is also referred to as dinitrogen molecule. This dinitrogen molecule consists of two nitrogen atoms which are being bound with regard to each other. Now what we have to do is that we have to cleave these bonds in a sequential manner, and that too in a complex that is referred to as dinitrogenase complex, that will be cleaving these bonds one after the other and ultimately causing it to be converted into ammonium ions or ammonia. So that we have to see. Now see, there are the specialized bacterium that have the ability to fix this atmospheric nitrogen. So they are all prokaryotic organisms that can fix this atmospheric nitrogen. Now these atmospheric nitrogen are present in the form of nodules within the leguminaceae plants. Okay, there are nodules which are present. Moving forward, you can see.
Finally, curiously, leguminous gene tier of legume rhizobium association will fix 25 to 60 kg of dinitrogen annually, while as the non-symbiotic organisms fix less than 5 kg per hectare.
So you can see that symbiotic living organisms can fix very large amount of nitrogen as compared to the non-symbiotic organisms. Now, here in this animation, it has been shown that there is the soil bacterium, which is referred to as rhizobia. The soil bacterium which is of red in color. You can isolate this soil bacterium from the nodules of the leguminaceae plant. These red bacterium infect the root hairs, and through the root hairs these red bacterium enters into the root. Okay, and in these roots within the vesicles that contains the rhizobia present within themselves, these vesicles began to divide. These vesicles began to divide and increase in their number. Okay,
Nitrogen fixing nodules has been studied extensively in legumes.
so
Overall,
in case of leguminaceae plants, nitrogen fixing bacteria have been extensively studied. There are four different steps which are involved in the formation of these nodules. One is called as colonization, where the colony of the invading bacteria is being produced. Another one is referred to as nodulation. This nodulation is being induced in the presence of nod-inducing genes. The third one is referred to as invasion of root hairs, and the fourth one is referred to as the release of the bacteria. We would be studying the process of nitrogen fixation through a book which is referred to as Stays and Ziegler, which is a classical book of any plant physiology. So we would be studying this entire process through Stays and Ziegler only. Okay. Now rhizobia are free living microbes in nature. So there are three different categories of microbes that can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. One, it could be free living. Another one it could be symbiotic in nature. And the third types of nitrogen fixing bacteria could be blue-green algae that will lead to the formation of heterocysts, where they will fix the atmospheric nitrogen. So nitrogen fixing bacteria or the blue-green algae can be of three different types: symbiotic, free living, or they could be present in the form of blue-green algae. Okay, so let us look at how does these work. Please turn off your mic. Please do not open your mic. Priyansh, your mic was open.
living
No.
saprophytic soil bacteria, the initial attraction of rhizobia to host roots appears to involve positive chemotaxis or movement towards a chemical.
So see, actually the movement of these bacteria takes place in the presence of particular chemical agent. That is why these bacterial strains shows chemotactic movement. That means they are being attached to the these are being attached towards the plant root through the chemotaxics movement by the attraction of the chemicals that will attract these living species, these bacterial strains.
Rhizobia host specificity that form between
Now,
unique molecules on cell surfaces.
so rhizobia has a host specificity as it has a host specificity. So this rhizobia enters into this particular host. Now, there are specific genes which are being produced by specific organelles. For example, plant cells. These plant cells possess certain genes, and those are referred to as nod genes. Bacteria possess three different types of genes. One is referred to as the Nod gene, Nif gene, and Fix gene. Bacteria has three different types of genes. Which are the genes that bacteria have? Bacteria, just a minute. Bacteria have Nod, Nif, and Fix genes. Okay, these are the three genes that the bacteria will be possessing. Whereas the plant possess the Nod gene present within itself. Okay, these are the genes that are being associated with this bacteria. Whereas the plant cells possess another category of genes that is referred to as Nod genes. Plant possess Nod genes. It is the expression of these Nod genes in the case of plants. Nod genes, what do you mean by Nod genes? Nod gene referred to as nodule developing genes. Nodule developing genes are also referred to as Nod genes. These genes will lead to the formation of nodule, okay? And these genes will cause the formation of certain metabolites. Those metabolites will cause the bacteria to be attracted towards the plant cells. Actually, bacteria never wants to go towards the plant cell, but these Nod genes are the one that will cause the attraction for the expression, that will cause the expression of Nod, Nif, and Fix gene to take place in the case of bacteria, attracting the bacteria towards the plant cells, towards the root hairs. Now, how does the attraction takes place? That we have to see. Okay. Now, moving forward. Just a second.
In the case of rhizobia-host interactions, recognition appears to involve two classes of innate formation of infection thread.
There is an infection thread that is being produced. Now, how is that infection thread that is being produced? That we have to see. That how does an infection thread is being produced?
In this stage, the bacterium penetrates the host cell wall in order to enter the space between the wall and the plasma membrane.
So
once the rhizobia reaches the outer surface,
this is how it actually takes place. These are the different diagrams. They are also present in Pathfinder, but this here I am trying to explain a bit better, because there are stages of nodule infection. There are bacterial strains. These bacterial strains moves into the root hair, and these root hairs began to curl because of the outer growth. As these infectious thread then reaches into the cortex, and within the cortex they will lead to the formation of colonization of the cortex and will lead to the formation of nodules.
Phase of the plasma membrane, tip growth of the root hair ceases and the cell membrane begins to invaginate. The result is a tubular intrusion into the cell called as infection thread.
Okay, so see, firstly it transfers through the plasma membrane, it stops the growth of this root hair, leading to the formation of an infectious thread. This infectious thread further moves in, and once this infectious thread further moves in, then this will lead to the infection of the bacteria taking place within the root nodule,
which contains the invading rhizobia. The infection thread elongates until it reaches the base of the root hair cell. After the formation of infection thread, the third process enters, that is the release of bacteria. This is the final step in the infection process, whereby the bacteria
process is referred to as the release of the bacteria. The bacterial cells are being released. As the bacterial cells are being released, then these bacterial cells which are being released, they will be the one that would be modifying these root hairs or these root cells. Now, these bacterial cells that are present in root cells will induce the cells to divide because they are present in the root cells. Okay, so they will induce the cells to divide. Okay, as they will induce the cells to divide, so those cells will divide effectively and they will be containing the rhizobia present within themselves. They will have the rhizobia present within themselves.
Bacteria are released into the host cells. The membrane of the infection thread buds off to form small vesicles, each containing one or more individual bacteria. Shortly after release, the bacteria cease dividing and the bacteroids remain surrounded by a membrane called the peribacterioid membrane.
Now see this, bacteroids remain surrounded by a membrane, and this membrane which is being present here is commonly referred to as the peribacterioid membrane, because the bacteria became completely surrounded with this particular membrane. Now let us look at the biochemistry of this particular pathway. Vascular connections, that is the connections of the xylem and phloem, imports the photosynthetic carbon to nodule and export fixing nitrogen from nodule to plant. This is a symbiotic relationship. Okay, as this is a symbiotic relationship, so what is going to happen in this symbiotic relationship? Molecules are going to move in and other molecules are going to move out. For example, you can find that there is a vascular connection, import of the photosynthetic carbon to the nodule, and export fixes nitrogen from nodule to the plant. Then there is the export which is going to take place, and it would be the one that would be responsible for the fixing to take place, fixing of the atmospheric nitrogen to take place. Okay, now moving forward.
Dear friends, let's have a look at the biochemistry of nitrogen fixation. Only prokaryotes are able to fix dinitrogen principally because only they have the gene coding for the enzyme dinitrogenase.
Now see, this is the diagram for which I was looking forward. Now see what is going to happen. This dinitrogenase complex, as I told you in Pathfinder, is a dimeric complex. Please look here. See, the dinitrogenase complex, nitrogenase complex. The nitrogenase complex consists of two proteins, a dinitrogenase reductase and a dinitrogenase. Dinitrogenase reductase provide electron, and these electrons moves to dinitrogenase. Okay, so you can look here, one is dinitrogenase reductase, another one is dinitrogenase. Yes, I know the screen is not visible because I have moved to Pathfinder. You are able to visualize the Pathfinder, isn't it? So there is dinitrogenase reductase and dinitrogenase. And dinitrogenase reductase will transfer the electrons, and the electrons will move from the dinitrogenase reductase to the dinitrogenase. Now look at the animated part. Okay, look at that animated part where you would be able to find that how does this interaction is going to take place. So this is dinitrogenase reductase. Okay, and this is dinitrogenase. You can see that when the oxidation is taking place, the 16 ATPs are being lost, the electrons are being transferred. When the electrons are being transferred from the ATP degradation to the iron molecules, the iron moves from its oxidized state to reduced state. This iron molecule will now transfer the electrons to the molybdenum Fe complex. This molybdenum Fe complex, which was initially oxidized, will get converted into reduced form because it has taken the electron from the iron molecules which are already reduced. Okay, so molybdenum and iron complex, which was in oxidized form, will get converted into reduced form because the electrons are being absorbed by the molybdenum iron complex from the reduced ferredoxin. The molybdenum iron complex will get converted from its reduced form to its oxidized form and will transfer the electrons along with the protons to nitrogen atom. See, what is going to happen here is that ferredoxin transfer the electrons to the ferric ion, which gets converted into ferrous. Then they will transfer the electrons to molybdenum iron complex. Molybdenum iron complex will fix the atmospheric nitrogen. The same is given in Pathfinder. Look here at Pathfinder, what is given, but this diagram was not there. The dinitrogenase complex is a dimer consisting of two subunits, okay, and they are being joined with respect to each other. Molybdenum is present in this cluster, and that is why this protein is also commonly called as molybdenum iron protein complex. So that you are visualizing here also. Here is the molybdenum which is present. So this part of the complex is commonly referred to as the molybdenum iron complex. Moving back, what you get is okay, Namrata, you can join again, no problem. Here is the thing that molybdenum iron protein complex is present. Okay, Here you can see that there is a molybdenum iron protein complex that is present, and this complex is the molybdenum iron protein complex that has been produced. Okay. The iron molybdenum cofactor is the site for nitrogen fixation. It is the site which is responsible for nitrogen fixation to take place. The genes involved collectively in synthesis of nitrogenase and catalytic activity of nitrogen fixation is referred to as NIF gene. Very important genes. Those genes that are involved in the synthesis of nitrogenase and catalytic process of nitrogen fixation, all those genes are combinedly called as NIF genes. They will lead to the biosynthesis of nitrogenase and will fix the atmospheric nitrogen. See, this is the process that is going to take place. That was being explained to you in that particular diagram. Ferredoxin will get oxidized and will liberate its 8 electrons. Okay. Firstly, let us start from the expansion of the ATP molecule. See, 16 ATP are being attached to the dinitrogenase reductase. The dinitrogenase reductase has taken 8 electrons from the ferredoxin. Okay. Dinitrogenase reductase has been converted into the reduced structure. It has been reduced from a form that was oxidized. Previously, dinitrogenase reductase was oxidized. Now it has been reduced after the addition of 8 electrons. When the dinitrogenase reductase was reduced, then ATPs were being added, and it led to the formation of dinitrogenase reductase, which is still reduced but possesses very high energy molecules present within itself. Okay, so it had very high energy molecules present within itself. The 8 electrons from the dinitrogenase reductase are being transferred to another complex that is called as dinitrogenase. This is the other enzyme. There are 2 subunits of this enzyme. One is this subunit, another one is this subunit. This subunit is commonly called as dinitrogenase reductase subunit, and this subunit is also referred to as dinitrogenase subunit. It is this subunit which contain the iron molybdenum protein complex. इसी subunit के पास में iron molybdenum protein complex होता है. This complex contains, this subunit contain iron molybdenum protein complex present within itself. Okay. So later on, dinitrogenase is being reduced from its oxidized form. It gets converted into reduced form, and from its reduced form, it can again be converted into its dinitrogenase oxidized form after the 8 electrons are being transferred, transforming the nitrogen atom into the ammonium ions. It will be the one that will be transforming the atmospheric nitrogen into the ammonium ions. So this is the process for the nitrogen fixation. This is the entire process, that how does nitrogen fixation takes place in an organism. This is how does it occurs. Okay. Now moving forward, just a second. Look here, let us complete the animation.
The enzyme picks in different size. The smaller protein is a dimer consisting of 2 identical subunit polypeptides. Okay. The molecular mass of each subunit ranges from 24 to 36 kilodalton.
So this is 24 to 36 kilodalton, and this is the smaller subunit that is present. This is the iron protein that is present, and this is molybdenum iron protein complex that is present. That is the larger subunit.
Depending on the bacterial species, it's called the iron protein because the dimer contains a single cluster of 4 iron ions bound to 4 sulfur groups. The larger protein
contains 4 iron, and those 4 irons are being bound to the 4 sulfur groups present within itself. Okay, so as there are 4 iron and 4 sulfur groups, so it leads to the formation of iron sulfur center. Then there is molybdenum iron center that is being produced, and this molybdenum iron center, which is referred to as MOFE oxidase and reductase complex.
In the dinitrogenase complex, it's called the molybdenum iron protein.
This is dinitrogenase enzyme complex, which is referred to as molybdenum iron protein complex.
It's a tetramer consisting of 2 pairs of identical subunits with a total molecular mass of 220 kilodalton. overall reaction of it converts the dinitrogen into ammonia with the help of ATP.
60 ATPs are being consumed and dinitrogenase enzyme act, and it is this dinitrogenase enzyme that will use the 16 ATP, and 16 ATP will be consumed in the entire process.
Note that the overall reaction for reduction of dinitrogen to ammonia by dinitrogenase utilizes ATP molecules. Note that the principal product of biological nitrogen fixation is ammonia. Counts. The first step of this process is the reduction of nitrate to nitrite in the cytosol.
Now, nitrates which are being produced.
The enzyme nitrate reductase catalyzes this reaction.
And nitrate reductase has the ability to catalyze this particular reaction. Now, this is all about the dinitrogenase complex. How does this dinitrogenase complex act? So that is all which is given here, and the further could be understood from the Pathfinder point of view. From the Pathfinder book, you can see that the first complex, was consisting of the iron sulfur center. At least 16 molecules of ATPs are required per nitrogen molecule which is being reduced. This question has been asked several number of times. 16 ATP molecules are being consumed for the biosynthesis for the reduction of a nitrogen molecule into ammonia. So total 16 ATPs are being consumed in this entire procedure. The nitrogenase complex is very sensitive to inactivation by oxygen. Okay, as the nitrogenase complex is highly sensitive to its inactivation by the oxygen molecule, so nitrogenase has to be protected. Then what is being done? What is being done is that the nitrogenase is being protected from any other molecules by the action of by the surrounding of another molecule that is referred to as leg hemoglobin. Supposingly, if nitrogenase is present here, if nitrogenase is present at a particular place, okay, then this place is being surrounded by another protein complex, and this outer protein complex in between both of these is filled the compound that is referred to as the leg hemoglobin. Here leg hemoglobin is present surrounding the dinitrogenase complex from all the sides, so that the nitrogen fixation can effectively take place. And in the middle, in the center, the enzyme dinitrogenase complex will work, because oxygen could be, if oxygen is trying to enter into this particular complex, the leg hemoglobin is going to bind to it. Leg hemoglobin, leg hemoglobin will bind to it, and leg hemoglobin will cause the four oxygen molecules could be effectively bound to the leg hemoglobin molecule. It can bind to all these different oxygen molecules and will prevent the degradation and will prevent the inhibition of dinitrogenase enzyme. Okay, this is the dinitrogenase enzyme which is present towards the center. Okay, this is the enzyme that is commonly present at the center. Just a second, increase the size. This is the dinitrogenase enzyme complex which is present. Okay, so this is dinitrogenase enzyme which is present in the case of leguminaceae plants. Leguminaceae plants have this dinitrogenase complex. Now moving forward, nitrogen fixing organisms. There are different types of nitrogen fixing organisms. This is all about leg hemoglobin which is given. So see, in Azotobacter, an obligate arrow, this is an arrow and can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Oxygen concentration inside the cell is kept down by partially uncoupling a heavy active respiratory chain. It uncouples the respiratory chain. That means it uncouples cellular respiration that it is going to take place. As it uncouples cellular respiration, so it can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Those cells which will be fixing the atmospheric nitrogen will not be using oxygen and will not carry out aerobic respiration. Those cells will be carrying out anaerobic respiration. Okay, those cells will carry out anaerobic respiration. Okay, in cyanobacteria, what happens is that in the case of blue-green algae, the cyanobacteria, there is an entire new modification that is being produced. They lead to the formation of fixation of nitrogen occurs in specialized cells, and those cells are referred to as heterocyst. Now, what happens in the case of cyanobacteria? You must understand. For example, if this is a cyanobacteria, I'm making the strands of algae. Okay, I'm just going to make the strands of algae. Just a second. Oh, sorry. Okay, and this is algae. These are the strands of different branches of algae. Okay, then certain cells of the algae modifies themselves. They develop extra thickening over their cell wall. These cells develops extra thickening over their cell walls and are thus referred to as heterocyst formation. These cells develops extra thickening over themselves, and these are the one that leads to heterocyst formation. They will lead to the formation of heterocyst. Okay, these cells will possess extra thickening over themselves. Okay, as these cells possess extra thickening over themselves, so they uncouple the photosynthesis cyclic photophosphorylation within themselves. In their center there is no cyclic photophosphorylation, no cyclic photophosphorylation, no cyclic photophosphorylation that will take place. Just a second. No cyclic photophosphorylation will take place. As there would be no cyclic photophosphorylation that would be taking place, that means what is going to happen? It will only in these cells only the basic photosynthetic reaction. In these cells only the basic photosynthetic reaction will take place, that is of PS2. The photosystem second reaction is going to take place. Only PS1 will take place, photosystem 1 will be there, and it will lead to the formation of only cyclic photophosphorylation. But Z scheme is not going to operate in such type of cells. Heterocyst will have no Z scheme, as heterocyst will have no Z schemes, and so no oxygen molecules will be produced. You know that in the case of photosynthesis, there are two different types of photophosphorylation. One is referred to as cyclic, another one is referred to as acyclic photophosphorylation. Cyclic photophosphorylation is the one in which there is no oxygen which is being released, and in the case of non-cyclic photophosphorylation, oxygen is being released. Just a second, this is wrong. There would be only cyclic photophosphorylation that will take place. Only this photophosphorylation take place. There would be no acyclic photophosphorylation. Only cyclic photophosphorylation will occur in heterocyst. Now, see, fixation of nitrogen occurs in specialized cells called as heterocyst, and these heterocysts do not photosynthesize but are devoted solely to nitrogen fixation. These heterocysts will not perform the act of photosynthesis, and these will be the one that will be solely dictated to the process of nitrogen fixation. They will be only fixing the atmospheric nitrogen molecules. Okay. Leguminosae plants maintains the low concentration of oxygen by binding to another molecule that is referred to as leghemoglobin. So here you have studied about obligatory aerobes. How does obligatory aerobes acts? How does obligatory aerobes acts? That we have studied. We have studied in the case of higher plants, leguminosae plants, that how does these leguminosae plants works. We have also studied in the case of certain plant species such as the cyanobacteria, which leads to the formation of heterocyst. There are other living organisms also which can perform nitrogen fixation. For example, we can look here at other nitrogen fixing bacteria, and those will be the archaebacteria, example of free living nitrogen fixing bacteria. Rhizobium was an example of symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria. Azotobacter was an example of obligate nitrogen fixing bacteria, obligate aerobic nitrogen fixing bacteria. Blue-green algae will lead to the formation of heterocyst for nitrogen formation. And other bacteria, free living nitrogen fixing bacteria are archaebacteria. Methanogens that produce methane are also nitrogen fixing bacteria. Eubacteria, the aerobic bacteria, chemosynthetic bacteria, photosynthetic bacteria, unicellular and filamentous algae can all fix the atmospheric nitrogen. All of these living organisms have the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Now, how the question will be asked? First question that has been asked, which living organism can fix atmospheric nitrogen? Answer was prokaryotes only. Now, which are the different types of what occurs in the case of azotobacter? What is the mechanism of strategy of azotobacter for fixing nitrogen? Azotobacter uses a strategy that it uncouples electron transport system and cellular respiration from those cells which perform nitrogen fixation. This one was the next question which was being asked. Look here, azotobacter and obligate arrow. The oxygen concentration inside the cell is held down by partial uncoupling of the electron transport chain of an active respiratory chain. Electron transport chain is uncoupled from oxidative phosphorylation. This is how azotobacter work. How does heterocyst? How does these blue-green algae work? By the formation of heterocyst. Whereas other organisms can directly fix the nitrogen. How does leguminaceae plants fix nitrogen? By symbiotic association with rhizobium species. Okay. Now, symbiotic association. There are several different types of symbiotic living organisms that can associate with the plant species. There are three genera which are involved: Rhizobium, Bradyrhizobium, and Azorhizobium. They are all the different varieties of the rhizobium that has the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay. These will lead to interaction with the non-leguminaceae plants, and one non-leguminaceae genus called as Parasponia, the most important one. So many number of questions have been asked from Parasponia. There are so many number of questions which have been asked from Parasponia. Please do try to remember this. This is very, very important. Okay. This Parasponia is very important. You must remember this. Okay. Putting a star here. So, sorry. This Parasponia is very important as this is a non-leguminaceae genus which can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. So once there was a question which was being asked that do only leguminaceae plants can fix atmospheric nitrogen in higher organisms? No, non-leguminaceae genus can also fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, moving forward. Although most leguminaceae plants form nodule in their root, few leguminaceae plants do not bear nodules in their root but bears nodules in their stem. One common example of nodulated leguminous plant is Sesbania. Okay, there are other questions which have been asked from a bacteria, non-leguminaceae nodule forming bacteria, non-leguminaceae nodule forming bacteria that is referred to as Frankia. You can look here. Non-leguminous nodule is a filamentous bacteria that is referred to as Frankia of the group Actinomycetes. It can also fix atmospheric nitrogen. Frankia and Rhizobium are free-living soil bacterium but fix dinitrogenase only when in symbiotic association with the host plant species. So see, Frankia and Rhizobium, both of these organisms are free-living in nature, but they have the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen only when they are in symbiotic association with the plant species. If they are not in symbiotic association, they will not be able to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay. Moving forward. Rhizobium. Rhizobium is a gram-negative, motile, rod-shaped bacteria that can grow freely in soil and can infect the leguminaceae plant. It leads to the formation of root nodules. Now, how root nodules have been formed, I've already told you. There are different types of genes. We have to see at the genes that how does genes interact. See, chemotactic movement of the free living soil bacterium takes place towards the plant because the plant secretes certain chemicals, and those chemicals which are being produced by the plant species include flavonoids, homoserine secreted by the roots. These two chemicals causes the bacteria to move towards the plant. A specific protein is also present over the surface of the bacterial species called as recadherins. Cadhesin. which is present at the surface of the bacterial species Rhizobium. Okay, so this recadhesin, which is present over the species of Rhizobium, will cause the bacteria to move towards the roots of the plant. Recadhesin, a calcium binding protein, plays important role in plant bacterium attachment. Root exudate, that means the products which are being produced from the root, are causes the nodulation genes responsible for the nodule formation to be expressed. Because I have already told you that there are different set of genes which are present. Okay, in the case of bacteria, in bacteria, there are three different categories of genes which are present. One is referred to as NOD genes, another one is referred to as NIF genes, while the third one is referred to as the fixed genes. Okay, these are the three genes which are present. Whereas in the case of the plant species, the genes which are present is NOD genes. Okay, so these are the different types of genes that are present, found to be associated. Just a second. These are different types of genes which are being found to be associated with the bacteria and the plant cells. These are the two different types of genes. So these NOD genes which are being expressed from the plant cell causes the activation of NOD genes, fixed genes and NIF genes to take place in the case of bacteria. Bacteria expresses a protein called as recadhesin over its surface, which causes the bacteria to be bounded to the plant cells. Okay. Nodulation genes is responsible for nodule formation. The genes which is responsible for nodule formation has a factor, and that factor is commonly referred to as the NOD factor. Here is the NOD factor which is present. NOD factors are actually lipo, keto, oligosaccharides, the derivatives of chitin proteins. Okay, NOD factors are the one which causes the curling of the root hair to take place. Now, after the curling of the root hair, the bacteria is going to enter, and it enters in the form of an infectious thread into the cortex of the root. The infected cortex cells increases their size and began to divide. Okay. Later on, in the infectious stage, the rhizobia enlarges, divides and enlarges to form bacteroids. The rhizobia enlarges in size and it leads to the formation of bacteroids. Okay. Reduction of nitrogen to ammonia occurs in the bacteroids. There are specialized structures which are being produced, and those structures are referred to as bacteroids. And then there, in the case of bacteroids only, the reduction of nitrogen is going to take place. Sorry. In the infectious thread, divide and enlarge to form the bacteroids, which are separated from the plant cytoplasm by the peribacteroid membrane. Bacteroids can neither divide or not revert back to their non-differentiated state. It is in these bacteroids that the nitrogen fixation is going to take place. The bacteroids are being protected from the oxygen level with the help of a protein called as leg hemoglobin. The leg hemoglobin is made up of 145 amino acid long, and this is in comparison with the 141 and 146 alpha and beta chain of the hemoglobin molecule. See, leg hemoglobin and hemoglobin, they are all paralogous proteins because they are being formed from the modification of the same ancestral gene product. Okay. Leg hemoglobin is localized in the cytoplasm of the infected plant cell and not inside the peribacterial membrane. They are present in the cytosol and prevents the oxygen molecule to enter into the peribacteroid membrane, where there is the dinitrogenase enzyme which is present. These are the different stages which are taking place in the formation of root nodule. First stage is referred to as the recognition state. Recognition of the plant by the bacterium, the expression of the proteins that are responsible for the sticking of the bacteria towards the plant, expression of NOD genes in the case of proteins, see, secretion of NOD factor by the bacterium. NOD factor promotes the root hair curling and the plant cells division. Bacteria then invade through the formation of root hair. Then the infection thread spreads and invades into the cortical cells. Ultimately, it leads to the formation of bacteroids within the plant cells. Plant cells divide and formation of the mature root nodule take place. So it is these plant cells that began to divide and will lead to the formation of mature root nodules. Okay. Now you can see that there is another cycle that could accumulate the nitrogen which has been fixed, and that cycle is referred to as glutamate synthase cycle, which involves two different enzymes. One is referred to as glutamine synthase, another one is referred to as glutamate synthase. These are the two enzymes that are being involved. Now how does these two enzymes work? You can look here. Glutamine synthase is an enzyme that has the ability to synthesize the glutamine. How glutamine can be synthesized? Glutamate reacts with ammonia and with ATP, lead to the formation of glutamine. In another reaction, which is being biosynthesized by glutamate synthase, glutamine reacts with alpha ketoglutarate, can form glutamate. These two molecules, the glutamate and the glutamine, these two are the one that are responsible for acting as a molecular, as specific molecules to carry out the ammonification of proteins to take place. See, ammonia can be added to other different amino acids only via the formation of glutamine or by the formation of glutamate. Okay, glutamine is being biosynthesized by glutamine synthase. Glutamate is biosynthesized by glutamate synthase. Once these compounds are being formed, then transamination reaction will take place and they will convert any alpha keto acid into an amino acid, forming new amino acids. Okay. Ultimately, you can see there is another enzyme, that is glutamate dehydrogenase, and this glutamate dehydrogenase is an enzyme that has the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen in the form of ammonium ions, reaction with alpha ketoglutarate to form L-glutamate and NADP positive. With this, we have finished on the nitrogen fixation. In tomorrow's lecture, we will be talking in day after tomorrow lecture, because tomorrow lecture is of KK sir. In day after tomorrow lecture, we will be talking about amino acid catabolism, and there we will be finishing off this amino acid catabolism and the entire chapter of amino acids. So from my side, there would be two questions of this nitrogen fixation that are going to take place. So you must remember the entire process, how many number of ATP molecules are being required, what happens with the nitrogen fixation, which are free living nitrogen fixing organelles, which are symbiotic nitrogen fixing organelles, which are obligate nitrogen fixing organelles such as the Azotobacter obligate aerobe. Okay, so all these types of things should be remembered. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. You will have a regular class you will have a class tomorrow at 8 p.m. only, that of KK sir, and then my class will continue after day after tomorrow. Okay, and we will finish this topic, finish this chapter. So it is my due request, please solve all the MCQs and the test and evaluation questions, as well as a sheet of biochemistry has also been sent to you from the book of Catalyst. If you feel any problem,